This grocery chain has been feeding Nordic families for over 100 years, passed down through generations as a symbol of cooperative values, community ownership, and fair prices for everyone. Your grandmother shopped there. Your parents shopped there. You probably shopped there this week. But when we investigated what's really happening behind those familiar green signs, what we discovered about who's actually profiting, how prices are being manipulated, and what it means for your health and your wallet, is genuinely disturbing. This isn't about hating on Coop. This is about helping you understand what you're actually paying for. These are the uncomfortable truths Nordic families need to know. Coop is everywhere. Across Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland, the Coop name appears on thousands of storefronts. Coop Sverige, Coop Norge, Coop Denmark, plus partnerships with SOK in Finland. Together, they serve over 27 million Nordic consumers through more than 4,500 retail stores. For generations, the cooperative model promised something different: member ownership, democratic control, profits returned to the community. A grocery store that worked for the people, not just shareholders. But here's what most Nordic families don't realize. The Coop you grew up with is in crisis. The cooperative values are being hollowed out. And in Norway, Coop was just hit with one of the largest competition fines in European history for working with competitors to keep your prices artificially high. In this investigation, we'll expose the 4.9 billion kroner price-fixing scandal, why your groceries cost 63% more than the European average, how Coop Sweden lost billions while executives collected salaries, what shrinkflation is stealing from your shopping basket, and how all of this connects to the Nordic obesity crisis that's reshaping a generation. By the end of this video, you'll understand why that Coop membership card might not be the deal you think it is. But don't worry, we'll also show you what you can actually do about it. Let's start with some history. The cooperative movement in the Nordics began with genuine idealism. In Sweden, Kooperativa Förbundet was founded in 1899 by 41 local consumer cooperatives. Their goal was simple: fight price cartels, give working families access to affordable goods, return profits to the community. In Denmark, the Consumer Cooperative Association that became FDB was founded in 1896. In Norway, the movement took shape in the early 1900s. These cooperatives built factories, created brands, employed tens of thousands. By the mid-20th century, KF in Sweden was one of the largest business groups in all of Scandinavia. The model worked because it aligned incentives. Members owned the stores. Profits went back to members. There was genuine accountability. But over decades, something changed. The cooperatives got bigger. Management became professionalized. The member-owner relationship became theoretical rather than practical. How many Coop members have ever attended a cooperative meeting? How many could name a single board member? The cooperative structure remained, the cooperative spirit faded, and in its place, something much more troubling emerged. To understand how deep this goes, we need to start with Norway, because what happened there reveals how the entire Nordic grocery system actually works. In August 2024, the Norwegian Competition Authority dropped a bombshell. They fined the country's three biggest grocery chains, Coop Norge, Norgesgruppen, and Rema 1000, a combined 4.9 billion Norwegian kroner. That's approximately 420 million euros, the largest competition fine in Norwegian history. The charge? Price collusion through a system called prisjägare, or price hunters. Here's how it worked. For years, starting in 2011, these three chains made a secret agreement. They would send employees into each other's stores to scan shelf prices using handheld devices. Thousands of prices, collected daily, shared between supposed competitors. On the surface, the chains claimed this was just normal competitive practice, checking what the competition charges. But the competition authority saw something different. They saw a coordinated system designed to keep prices high. When one chain raised prices, the others could immediately see it. If everyone raises prices together, there's no competitive pressure to keep them low. The price hunters weren't hunting for low prices to benefit consumers. They were hunting for price increases they could safely match. The investigation found this practice made price increases more likely and price cuts less likely. Norwegian consumers were paying inflated prices, while 3 companies carved up 95% of the grocery market between them. Coop Norge was fined 1.3 billion kroner. They denied any wrongdoing. Managing Director Philip Engedal flatly stated that Coop had not engaged in illegal cooperation. But in August 2025, the Norwegian Competition Appeals Tribunal upheld the decision. The fines stood. The cooperation was illegal. Norwegian families had been overcharged for years. And here's what makes this worse. This isn't just a Norwegian problem. Norway already has the highest food prices in Europe. According to Eurostat, food and non-alcoholic beverages in Norway cost 63% more than the European Union average. More expensive than Switzerland? More expensive than Iceland? The most expensive groceries on the continent. A liter of milk costs over 20 Norwegian kroner. A block of butter costs nearly 37 kroner. A basic cucumber can cost more than twice what it costs in Sweden. Norwegian families routinely drive across the border to shop in Swedish stores because the savings are that dramatic. In the first 9 months of 2025 alone, Norwegians spent 8.9 billion kroner shopping in Sweden. So why are prices so high? 3 factors. First, import protection. Norway maintains massive tariffs to protect domestic agriculture. The tariff on beef is 344%. The tariff on cow's milk is 443%. These tariffs keep foreign competition out and prices high. Second, market concentration. 3 chains control 95% of the Norwegian grocery market: Coop, Norgesgruppen, and Rema. When there's no real competition, there's no pressure to lower prices. Third, the price fixing we just discussed. Even the limited competition that existed was being quietly coordinated away. The competition authority was clear. When asked about removing tariffs, they suggested it could make food 20 to 30% cheaper. But politicians protect the current system. Farmers benefit. Grocery chains benefit. The only ones paying the price are ordinary families. And the price increases haven't stopped. Food expenses for Norwegian families have increased 33% in just 3 years. In 2022, the Norwegian Language Council named Krympflasjon their word of the year. Shrinkflation. Same price, smaller package. Products that used to contain 5 items now contain 4. Packages that used to hold 100 grams now hold 90. The price stays the same. You get less. It's inflation disguised as consistency. The Consumer Council has warned Norwegians to check unit prices carefully. But how many busy parents have time to calculate price per kilo while rushing through grocery shopping with children? Meanwhile, across the border in Sweden, Coop is facing a different kind of crisis. Coop Sweden is collapsing. In 2024, Coop Sverige and its affiliated consumer cooperatives reported a combined operating loss of 2.7 billion Swedish kroner. That's after losing 1.4 billion in 2022 and another 1.4 billion in 2023. The losses keep mounting. To put this in perspective, in the 1960s and 70s, Cooperativa Förbundet and Coop were the largest trading group in all of Scandinavia. They employed 80,000 people. They had factories, real estate, even their own light bulb manufacturing. They dominated Swedish retail. Now, their market share has collapsed from 22% in 2014 to just 14.2% in 2024. They've lost 400,000 customers in 2 years. Their new central warehouse in Eskilstuna has been plagued with technical problems. Their IT systems are outdated. Their leadership is in chaos, with 3 top executives departing in just a few months. In June 2024, the chairman of Coop's Cooperative Association admitted to Dagens Nyheter that this was Coop's last chance to turn the business around. For decades, Coop Sweden hid its weak retail performance by selling off assets, real estate, factories, the industries they'd built over a century. Those assets are gone now. The losses can't be hidden anymore. And what happened to the cooperative promise? The member ownership? The democratic control? Analysts have pointed out that Coop's cooperative structure creates problems. One former professor noted that Coop managers go home at 16 at quite whatever, while independent merchants stand on their toes for customers. There's no personal incentive for performance when nobody really owns the business. The Swedish cooperative model was much more politically controlled than other countries, with board positions going to retired politicians in what was described as a kind of arrangement where positions went in turn. Business expertise took a backseat to political connections, so Swedish families trusted a cooperative that was slowly eating itself, a company that prioritized political appointments over business competence, that sold off its heritage while the retail operations hemorrhaged money, that kept the cooperative branding while losing the cooperative excellence. And in Denmark? Coop Danmark has gone through its own struggles. In 2023, they announced the closure of all Irma supermarkets, a premium chain that had operated since 1886. One of the oldest grocery chains in the world, second only to Marks & Spencer, shuttered. The historic Irma stores that had pioneered organic products and environmental awareness were being converted to Superbrugsen, or simply closed. The attempts to create a unified Nordic Coop also failed. Coop Norden, formed in 2001 by merging the Swedish, Danish, and Norwegian cooperatives, collapsed by 2008. The synergies never materialized. The cultural differences proved too great. The grand vision of Nordic cooperative dominance fell apart. What remains is 3 separate national cooperatives, each facing their own problems, connected mainly by shared procurement through co-op trading and the private label brands like Extra and Englemark that appear across all markets. Before we continue, take a second to subscribe and hit like. It helps push this investigation to the Nordic families who need to see it. Let's keep going. Now let's connect this to something even more important than your wallet: your health. According to the most recent Nordic monitoring report from 2024, obesity rates across the Nordic region have been climbing steadily. In 2024, 56% of Nordic adults were overweight or obese, up from 49% just a decade earlier. 1 in 5 Nordic adults is now obese. Let those numbers sink in. In just 10 years, overweight and obesity increased from roughly half the adult population to well over half. The trend line is going in only one direction. Among children, nearly 1 in 5 is now overweight or obese. In Iceland, it's 1 in 4. In Finland, Sweden, and Iceland, childhood overweight rates increased significantly between 2014 and 2024. These are children who will carry health problems their entire lives. Finland has been hit hardest. 27% of Finnish men and 30% of Finnish women have a BMI over 30. In Norway, approximately 26.6% of men and 24.8% of women are obese. In Sweden, the rate jumped from 10% to nearly 15% in a single decade. These rates have tripled in some Nordic countries within a single lifetime. The consequences are brutal. Type 2 diabetes rates are climbing. Cardiovascular disease remains a leading killer. The healthcare costs are staggering. And the personal cost, the lost quality of life, the shortened lifespans, the children growing up with chronic conditions. None of that appears on a grocery receipt. The Nordic Nutrition Recommendations Project examined the evidence and found strong associations between ultra-processed food consumption and weight gain, obesity, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and all-cause mortality. The science is clear. Higher consumption of ultra-processed foods is linked to worse health outcomes across the board. And what does the data show about ultra-processed food in Nordic diets? Research indicates that ultra-processed products account for approximately 60% of food purchases and 50% of food expenditure in Norway. Sweet ultra-processed products alone account for roughly 1 in 3 food items purchased. These aren't fresh ingredients for home cooking. These are industrial products engineered for long shelf life, maximum convenience, and repeat purchases. Products with ingredient lists that read like chemistry experiments. Walk through any Coop store. Count the ultra-processed products, the ready meals, the sweetened cereals, the sodas and snacks, the processed meats loaded with sodium and preservatives. These products dominate the shelves because they dominate the profits. There's a fundamental conflict between public health and corporate interests. Public health wants reduced consumption of ultra-processed products. Corporations want increased sales of ultra-processed products. Every time you buy that ready meal instead of fresh ingredients, the grocery chain wins. And unlike many other countries, the Nordic nutrition recommendations explicitly chose not to recommend limiting ultra-processed food, despite the evidence, despite the rising obesity rates, despite the clear health impacts. Why? Partly because the food industry pushed back, partly because so many healthy products like yogurt and whole grain bread technically qualify as ultra-processed under the NOVA classification system. But the result is that Nordic governments haven't told their citizens the most important dietary truth of our generation: eat less processed food. Instead, Nordic families trust the healthy-looking packaging, the Englemark organic labels, the natural and wholesome marketing. They trust that a cooperative grocery chain has their health in mind. But Coop's job isn't to make you healthy. Coop's job is to sell you food. And processed food is more profitable than fresh food. Now let's talk about what's actually in that shopping basket. Remember shrinkflation? Same price, less product? It's not just a problem, it's become a strategy. Product packaging shrinks while prices stay the same. A package of sliced cheese goes from 100 grams to 90 grams. A 5-pack of Lefse becomes a 4-pack. Consumers don't notice because the package looks the same, but they're paying more per gram, per liter, per unit. In Norway, the Consumer Council has urged people to always check unit prices. But unit prices are often displayed in tiny print, difficult to compare, easy to miss. The system isn't designed to help you make informed choices. It's designed to obscure the true cost. And it's not just shrinkflation, it's what researchers call skimpflation. Cheaper ingredients, same price. A mayonnaise that used to contain 9% egg yolk now contains 6% egg and 1.5% egg yolk. A recipe reformulated to cut costs while maintaining the illusion of quality. How would you ever know? You'd have to compare ingredient lists from year to year? Who does that? This is what happens in a market with no real competition. When 3 companies control 95% of grocery sales, they don't need to compete on quality or value. They just need to coordinate, match prices, shrink packages, cut corners, and trust that consumers won't notice. The grocery chains will tell you they're passing on supplier cost increases. They'll blame inflation, energy prices, the war in Ukraine. And some of that is true. But here's what's also true. Grocery chain owners consistently appear on Norway's lists of wealthiest citizens. Someone is profiting. It's just not you. So what should Nordic families actually do? First, understand the system. The cooperative branding doesn't mean Coop is working for you. It means Coop is using a historical association to maintain your loyalty while behaving like any other profit-maximizing corporation. When you see that green logo, don't think community, think marketing. Second, compare unit prices religiously. Don't look at the package price. Look at the price per kilo, per liter. This is the only way to catch shrinkflation and make real comparisons. Train yourself to ignore the big numbers and find the small print. It takes an extra few seconds per item. Over a year, it saves real money. Third, shop the borders. If you live near Sweden, those cross-border shopping trips aren't just thrifty. They're rational responses to a broken market. Norwegians spent billions in Swedish stores last year for a reason. The price difference on many items is so dramatic that even accounting for fuel costs, border shopping makes financial sense for families within a reasonable driving distance. Fourth, consider discount alternatives. Lidl has made inroads in some Nordic markets with approximately 6% market share in Sweden. While not perfect, international competition forces domestic chains to respond. Every customer who shops elsewhere is a message to the established players. The German discounter offers a different model worth considering. Fifth, cook from scratch when possible. Fresh ingredients, simple meals. Not only healthier, but often cheaper than ready meals when you account for true value. You control the sodium, you control the ingredients, you control your family's health. A home-cooked meal from basic ingredients typically costs a fraction of the equivalent ready meal, even before considering the health benefits. Sixth, Plan your shopping. Make a list. Stick to it. Grocery stores are designed to maximize impulse purchases. The layout, the promotions, the placement of high-margin items at eye level. None of that is accidental. Going in with a plan protects your wallet and your waistline. 7th, demand better. Use that thumbs down button. Write to consumer organizations. Contact politicians. The Norwegian price-fixing scandal only came to light because regulators investigated. Public pressure matters. If consumers stay silent, nothing changes. Let's be fair. There are situations where Coop makes sense. In rural areas, Coop might be the only option for kilometers. You need groceries, they have groceries. That's the reality. Membership dividends and discounts can add up for loyal shoppers. If you're spending thousands each year regardless, capturing some percentage back has value. Some Coop stores maintain higher quality than others. Swedish Coop stores might be fine. Norwegian Coop stores were part of illegal price coordination. The brand is the same. The reality varies by country and location. The Englemark organic line genuinely meets certification standards. If you're buying organic regardless, it's a legitimate option. The products have won sustainability awards for good reason. The key isn't total avoidance. It's informed shopping. Know what you're buying. Know what you're paying. Know who benefits. Here's what every Nordic family needs to understand. The cooperative grocery model made sense 100 years ago when it was created to fight cartels and provide working families access to affordable food. The founders of KF in Sweden, FDB in Denmark, and NKL in Norway built something genuinely valuable, but that model has been corrupted. In Norway, Coop participated in the largest price-fixing scheme in the country's history. In Sweden, Coop has lost billions, while the cooperative structure prevented accountability. Across the Nordics, grocery chains have consolidated into an oligopoly that controls prices and limits competition. The cooperative branding remains. The cooperative values have eroded. Meanwhile, food prices keep rising. Obesity rates keep climbing. Ultra-processed food keeps dominating store shelves. And Nordic families keep paying more for less while being told they're part of something community-owned and fair. You're not getting a community benefit. You're getting a marketing strategy. Grocery prices in Norway are the highest in Europe. They've increased 33% in 3 years. The companies controlling those prices just received billions in fines for coordination that kept prices artificially high. And they're appealing the decision, denying wrongdoing, insisting their behavior was normal. This isn't normal. This is a market failure, and it's costing your family thousands of kroner every year. Every shopping trip is a choice. Convenience versus consciousness. Habit versus intention. Trusting the brand versus reading the label. You don't have to boycott Coop, but you should shop with your eyes open. Compare prices. Check unit costs. Question the marketing. Understand that the green cooperative logo doesn't mean anyone is looking out for you. Because if the largest grocery chains in Norway can coordinate prices while serving 95% of the market, and if Swedish Coop can lose billions while maintaining its cooperative image, and if obesity rates can double while grocery profits soar, then something is fundamentally broken. The question is whether you'll keep paying for it. And if this is what we found in grocery chains, what do you think is happening with the ultra-processed food they're selling? The ready meals? The snacks marketed to your children? The healthy options that aren't healthy at all? We investigated that too. What we found about how processed food is reshaping Nordic health is even more disturbing. Subscribe so you don't miss when we release that investigation. Turn on notifications. Share this with every Nordic family who deserves to know the truth. Thanks for watching. Shop smart, read the labels, and think twice before you assume that cooperative logo means they're on your side.